go. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, MBs, Kappas, Keros, whatever you might be. Welcome to Warui Deshou's Stream of Thought, Season 5, Episode 2 of Sarazanmai. I probably completely butchered that. I do apologise profusely. I'm Shadon, as always. I'm going to do my absolute best to try and describe the events of this, which is going to be quite the accomplishment in and of itself, you know, if I actually do manage to pull that off. I mean, that's going to be like your own Xbox Live, achievement right there, 25 gamer points, accurately describe the events of a Sarazanmai episode. I'll give it a go. But as always, though, I'm not alone. I'm joined with my two Kappa colleagues here. On the other side of the ocean is, of course, Kappa Doctor himself. I believe his name is Subs.
You believe correctly. Also, you got the name of the show right, but you got the episode number wrong. This is not episode 2. It's episode 420. Baby! Ow! 420 just blaze the anime.
What? Right. No, I've got to stop you there. What kind of crazy person do you have to be at CrunchyRoll who's, handling the release of this to not do a one-off delay of this particular episode for Saturday? That was an opportunity that was gift wrapped for you. Miles, get your fucking crew in line, mate. Jesus.
Definitely
What?
like a
Job.
like a cost benefit analysis had to have happened in the background. Like surely there was a meeting about this.
Oh, God damn it.
It came out on the 19th instead of the 20th, Valerie.
God damn it. Anyway, also joining me, Kappa Valerie, of course, the dark web herself. Hello.
I'm so tired. Hi.
Oh.
Sorry.
Bless.
Are you okay?
Oh.
What's going on?
Yeah, I'm just tired. That happens.
Mm-hmm. You should sleep more.
I do sleep. It's just, it happens. It's a drug problem, I have drug problems.
Well,
you're not the only one, at least, because that's an amazing segue for this episode.
So we veered into dark territory all of a sudden.
No. It's doctor-approved drugs.
Okay. All right. No, you know what? Now I get you now. Okay.
Okay.
That's fair. So, before we get into this episode, we will, of course, revisit the polls from last week.
There were polls.
Doc, there were polls. There were 2 of them. I finally actually put some out there after the show ended because I'm terrible at my job. This is why I don't work in, any sort of political...
Oh my God, we have 2 polls. I forgot to rig them. Give me a second.
No. They're ended, so you can't rig
Too late.
That does not stop me.
No. You can hack. Now
I am the dark web.
Twitter.com.
You can't stop the dark web.
You can't. This is verifiable. I was told this by many people I trust on Facebook. Shadon, while I am reading the polls, could you check the stream and make sure everything is looking okay? Thank you, sir. So I am going to read polls from last week, Sarazanmai, episode 1. First poll. Did you find the events and ideas of the episode easy to process without using external resources like blogs or Twitter threads? 71% of you out there are smarties. Very smarties, and you said yep. And I'm in the 29%, the more info please group. Now, second poll. Is Kepi using the kids for his own evil ends? Kero. Is he sort of a... I've now forgotten his name. The white, fluffy creature from Madoka. Why can't I remember his name?
That would be Kyubey.
Thank you. I only follow someone on Twitter with this name, so I see it all the time. Of course I forget it. Is Kepi basically the Kyubey of this universe? 67%? Think so. Think he's an evil asshole.
Literally.
Yeah.
Very literally. I didn't write that answer for jokes. Like there's layers to this poll.
It's good. Good references.
I need to wear pants for this.
No, you're actually doing. No, you're doing better than us.
I think you're doing it right. I think you're doing it right.
You're doing better than us by not wearing pants for this. This is the anime where the least clothes you wear, the best.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's fair and accurate.
Yeah.
Listen, no. Okay, the least clothes you wear, the more secrets come out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go run for my pants.
So there will be no leakage. You should wear the pants.
I'm wearing pants, by the way. I'm joking.
You can't back out on this now. Sure, you can say that. We don't know.
Damn it.
You don't know.
Lack of webcam. Before we start, I just want to shout out the episode director here is Shingo Kaneko, director of episode 2 of Sarazanmai, titled I Want to Connect, But I Want to Take. So Kaneko has worked with Ikuhara before, series director man Ikuhara, on Utena, the TV show. Has been an episode director for 5 episodes. He was the assistant director, it looks like, of the whole TV show, which I didn't know until now. Did some storyboarding. Storyboarded part B of the movie. Was a unit director on Utena the movie. Also worked with Ikuhara doing Penguin Drum and doing Yurikuma Arashi and similar roles to the ones discussed above, storyboarding and episode direction. So this person has followed Ikuhara around also, but they got plenty of other work to recommend them. I mean, everything from Full Metal Alchemist to Etika 7 to Darker Than Black to Star Driver, Slam Dunk.
There was at least one I recognize there.
Okay, wait.
Darker Than Black, I remember that.
Yes. Okay, did you have a comment on Darker Than Black?
Oh, wait, listen.
Give us your review of Darker Than Black.
Wait.
When season 2?
You remember fucking first few Warui Deshou
Yeah!
episodes. I made this joke all the fucking time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It never gets old because it's also technically true.
Yeah. Like, that's one of those shows that I really like the idea of. But, man, there are some problems with
There's like every media where it's like, oh, we're gonna take this character and we're gonna make him a drunk asshole. It's like always handled wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, they did a great job at least of getting Vladivostok, accurate. They actually went and researched it for season 2. Too bad they didn't do anything else with it. Whoops. So
they had a Russian anti-material rifle, I think.
Great.
Man, I don't remember. Like, that's a really good memory. It's been so long since I've seen that show. I'm telling you, I've said this before, but the one and only one thing that sticks with me from Darker Than Black is when he restarted his own heart with his superpowers. That was some fucked up, goofy shit, and I loved it. That's what I'm here for.
Hey, to be fair, Jotaro's, he stops his own heart with, Star Platinum. It's not unheard of.
That's true. That's fair. Thank you to Lulabelle for coming. I know we're doing this at a weirder time than, like, on a Tuesday rather than a Monday or
curse you, Jesus
Friday.
Christ!
That's right. There you go.
Fucked up our schedule.
You've gone and
bastard.
You've done a lot of bad things over the years, but this
will not stand.
You've now crossed the Rubicon.
What a fucker.
You cat bastard, as they say in this show.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the cat bastard. It was a nice change of pace.
I was going to say, I didn't realise we'd be getting this anime's own version of Buffalo Bill, but here we are.
Oh, Jesus.
That's literally what he was fucking doing!
That's true. Yeah, the cat shaver incident. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Grizzly.
Literally Buffalo Bill is imagined by Ikuhara. Like, what the fuck? Oh. Anyway, right, so let's get to it. Let's talk about this episode. Summary time. This is gonna be tricky. Because how does one accurately summarize this show? I mean, you did a pretty damn fine job last time, Doc, so pressure's on. Right, so we return to Sarazanmai, already in progress. And mano, me oh my. Like, we of course had the revelation that... Sorry, 1 second.
Technical problems. Hello, Sophie the Bookworm. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. Like I was saying earlier, I know this is a weird day and time. We're doing on the half hour on a Tuesday, but next week we're also going to be doing Monday and for episode 3 instead of the Friday. But like for episode 4, I think we'll be doing it on the Friday. That's really far in advance to predict our schedule.
Yeah, we've got there's a lot of like stuff going on, keeping the schedule kind of fluid. Not least of which is why I won't be doing it this Friday because I'm going to be watching Avengers Endgame, aka the moment that Ant-Man finally flies up Thanos' ass. But anyway, back to the topic at hand.
It's been spoiled for you. You know what that's like now on film. You've seen it.
Alright, so we pick up where we left off, which is that Kazuki revealed, of course, that he has been cross-dressing as the idol. Azusa Sarah, I think it was. I'm very
Sarah.
bad with names. Sorry, yeah. And we actually find out, like, we speculated on this last time as to who the person it was mentioned at the end of the episode. We thought it was a random girl. It turns out it's actually Kazuki's younger brother. Much younger kid brother, Haruka, who is also Harukappa. Now, Haruka, as it turns out, is very into this idol.
Mm-hmm.
Like, absolutely adores. Like, as a young kid, often dotes on a media or social like celebrity or personality. So, I've got a lot to talk about later with that and parasocial relationships.
Ooh,
sorry, one second.
More technical difficulties. Vorgelia, by the way, is that you, like, unpacking a backpack? By the way. Oh, no. Vorgelia's internet seems to have broken. Sorry,
right.
Valerie.
Okay. Right. So, basically, what has been happening is this. The reason that Haruka has been actually cross-dressing as the idol is to pretend that he is the idol, to communicate directly with his younger brother to make him happy. Because his younger brother loves Sarah so much that he just wants to see him happy. And so giving him that personal connection, of a celebrity who actually directly, singularly interacts with him is, that must be amazing. Like, think of it like, if you were a kid, and you were, say, a huge fan of, I don't know. I'm thinking back to my own childhood here, so this probably makes me feel very dated. But let's say you're a big fan of something like The Fresh Prince back in the day, and you just were the one person, the one kid in your school who got to talk to Will Smith on the frequent, on your phone or whatever. Would that not be the coolest fucking thing ever? That'd be incredible. You'd love that.
Witter-san, why is Big Willie style so cheesy? Hit me back!
So, yeah, he's connecting with his brother in that way by doing this. And, wow, that's already, before we even hit the OP, that's some heavy stuff to deal with. So, yeah, expect a lot for me to discuss later about parasocial relationships, because that's going to play into this a lot.
I look forward to it.
That will be something to talk about. But anyway, we of course have the OP. I don't think we've really discussed it, but I have to say I love the music that goes with it. There's something so high energy and pumped by it that just makes me excited for the show, even though I know it's going to be as crazy as a barrel full of monkeys. So, after the OP, though, we do, of course, get to see Haruka at the family table. And I have to say, I think that Sarah basically does every single thing, on the media. News as well.
Yes.
We get a word later, oh yeah, this criminal was arrested, and it's her delivering the news.
Apparently, there's no news anchors in this world, just this one idol.
Yeah. Is Sarah basically Ikuhara's equivalent of the "I buy that for $1" guy from RoboCop?
Yes.
I think there's a possibility here.
I'm curious more for how much of the day is she on TV?
All of it, perpetually, if I had to guess.
Perpetually, probably, yeah. So just kind of, gossips about everything.
Yeah. I mean, what a twist, by the way, it would turn out to be if there were multiple Sarahs who were all just actresses playing this idol, because then guess what that ties back into? They're all fakes.
Yeah. Or if
you notice like a birthmark in one episode, and in the next episode it's gone. It's like, what the hell is happening here?
Or if it's like a virtual idol, if it's like a Hatsune Miku situation.
Hey, that's like it's like I said last time. She's the victor in the Idol Wars, having killed off Kazuna AI first time round.
That's right.
It just sounds like the ending, right?
Yes,
like a potential ending. It's like, oh yeah, it's a virtual idol and stuff. And it's like, oh shit, she hasn't been sending me pictures.
Credits.
She couldn't have.
But yes, what happens next is that Haruka and Kazuki go to the riverside where they have a cat whose name is Nyantaro. Nyantaro, I believe, was possibly formerly known as Garfield, but although I'm not conclusive on this at this time.
Nyantaro also hates Mondays.
Yeah, exactly. I will refer back to this later, believe it or not. But, like... Haruka's wish, Haruka had a wish to have a family cat. And Kazuki apparently made that happen through some method that we will find out about later on. By the way, one thing I want to note here, just keep in mind, is that I've heard a lot of stuff about how Ikuhara directs crazy looking visuals and all that. But one of the things I really appreciate about this episode is little subtle details. Like the fact it takes a moment to focus in on Nyantaro's ear, which has been clipped. Which, believe it or not, will be relevant later. It's a very small thing, but there's lots of little small details in this episode that help foreshadow events, such as the big, post-credit stinger of, where, well, we'll get to that later. And the two of them have a discussion in which basically plays out like any sort of conversation you have with someone who's secretly a superhero. Like, I adore that, I love Sarah, don't you like her? He's like, no, I hate her. Fuck that woman. Don't like her at all. But he's secretly happy that, his brother's, enjoying, getting all this personal attention. And then, because this show is crazy and it loves its hard tonal cuts that actually are genuinely quite amusing and shocking, we cut straight to the scene guest directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, yes! Completely.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This was some Ezekiel 25:17, and I will strike thee down with furious vengeance.
And you will know my name is the Lord.
And he's just holding the ruler up to him when he says that. This dude has been, drowned in a bathtub by Toy, and we will find out later it's his older brother who is also only using a ruler as a sword. Maybe they're called the Rulers. That's a bad gang name. I don't fucking. But yes, apparently Toy has fucked up previously about something to do with a route, possibly drug smuggling. We'll find out at some point, I'm sure. But Toy wants to get on equal footing with his brother, to work with him directly on their criminal activity. But Toy's older brother doesn't trust him on this. Doesn't at all. By the way, for some reason, Toy's older brother is still having a lollipop, so it is still lighthearted even though we're dealing with drugs. But yeah, he will later decide that he wants to get a dish of hope, which I hadn't mentioned because I got distracted and I forgot about it. I'll have to backtrack now to mention what dish of hope is. Okay. So the kids did get a reward when they destroyed the Kappa zombie in the previous episode, which Kepi gives to them, which is a golden dish of hope. What does that do? Gives you a wish. And because these kids are millennials and have never watched any fucking film ever.
Apparently not.
Fucking... Oh, God. I've got a pen and paper here. There we go. Enter. The dipstick speaks up and says, I want a year's supply of cucumber rolls. What does he get? A gigantic cucumber roll the size of a fucking tree. Nice one. Completely flew that moment, didn't you?
Good call.
I mean, come on. Has no one ever watched anything with wishes in it? Has no one ever watched Aladdin? Come on. Not you going to try it, the whole infinite wishes thing? Can I wish for infinite wishes, please?
Maybe they have seen too many films like that, and they just know it's in their mind already. Nope, you can't game the system. You have to wish for tangible individual wishes.
I was yelling out loud at this. I was just like, "You're fucking it up! God damn it!" But yes, it will turn out that they will get more of these as they destroy more of the Kappa zombies. Although there are caveats to this, because first off, we learn that you have to be very specific about how you phrase this, because that is technically a year's supply of cucumber roll. It's just one gigantic cucumber roll.
That's true.
So, if you want more evidence as to the possibility that Kepi is maybe not quite on the level, That's your point right there.
Mm.
Okay, so back to where I was talking about then about Toy's brother. So they go their separate ways. Toy wants to get a dish of hope to help his brother out. Then we cut to Enter, who gets the worst possible parcel mix up from Amazon ever, in that he gets a fucking gun delivered to him, which was meant for Toy. And I burst out laughing when this happened.
No. I think, like, since they all had their boxes last time they met, I think they just
got mixed up, yeah.
At home. Yeah.
Man,
I didn't realize that Capazon, delivered, firearms.
I'm just trying to imagine what that would be like. Like if I opened up a package that was on my doorstep today and a gun was in it. I would just be like,
fucking, who wants me dead?
I'll be terrified, exactly.
There's only one bullet inside it. Oh no!
Just a moment.
It has my name on it? No, wait. That's not my name.
I'd probably be very snobbish about it and be like, well, the rifling on it is a bit...
Hi there. Sorry. How are you?
All right, I wanted to give you these. These are the digital forms. Now, that is all that I could get from anybody.
Okay.
And I sent out countless emails.
Oh, I know.
So,
Yes.
and I think I've labeled them all who brought them in.
Okay.
So if you want to contact them about uploading papers.
Perfect.
But that was, I couldn't get a complete set of everybody. So.
Okay. Well, we'll work with what we have, and I guess if we can try to reach out to anybody that is, lingering, if we can figure that out, we will do that. But this appears to be a lot of them, so.
Yeah. Well, it's better than nothing. I
Absolutely.
Guess. At least it's
Thank
a
you.
start.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you so very much for this. I sure appreciate it.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll be a work in progress. By next year we'll get more on board, but at least it's a start.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, and if you have any questions, I think my number's on there, 6431.
Okay. Yes. There it is.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Terry, so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hello. Sorry, had to step away for just a brief moment. We back. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. You're muted. Let me see. Did you mute your own mic, or... Oh, boy, these technical gremlins. They are something. Let me unhide everyone. I've got everyone... Oh, I know. This is a fuck up on my end. Everyone could hear you. You're good.
Thank you. Right, okay, where were we? I need to rewind. Right, so... So after we find out that Enter has been delivered a fucking gun, we cut to Toy's other criminal activity, or rather, I personally prefer to believe his very legal business enterprise of making green herb for Resident Evil protagonists. I mean, there's nothing illicit about what he's doing here. No way. It's all above board. Him trying to hide, contraband inside, cat food. Nah.
This is set in Aspen, by the way, in case you didn't know. Everything is above board. It's all legal.
Yeah. And so this is the point where Yantaro suddenly finds his way there inexplicably. And I never thought I'd say this, but the plot then starts around how he gets away with a sachet of weed and runs off. And I'm like, I knew this was going to be crazy. I didn't think this was going to turn into a stoner comedy. Because that's what this feels like. My cat made off with my weed.
It really does. Like the Hangover 4 anime edition or some shit.
Like Spaced was the thing I referenced on Twitter. But all of them are good. Pineapple Express, all the jokes work here.
Yes, Spaced is good.
So meanwhile, Kazuki, dressed up as Sarah, is wandering around looking for a cat to take a selfie with because that was the challenge of the day from the real Sarah. And funnily enough, bumps into Nyansaro. And this is the point where Toy comes in, ruler in hand, ready to go murder him a cat. Because he needs, of course, to get his weed in there, back, so that way he can sell it all, because otherwise his brother will probably fucking kill him. And I want to note at this scene, by the way, that even though Kazuki is dressed as Sarah, that does not play any part in his reaction, which I thought was quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he had been dressed normally, it would have been exactly the same, which is to say, still completely batshit bonkers, especially given the Ansero then actually eats the weed. And I thought, we got a stone cat now. This is happening. This is an anime featuring a stone cat. Speaking of acid nightmares, we then bump into Anta walking down the road and getting collared by Kepi, who looks like he's been left out in the sun too long. He looks like he looks like me after I've been through an entire bottle of tequila, basically. And I have that same reaction as well, just to reach out, help me.
Do you get all the extra wrinkles as well? If you're not watered.
I look like one of the California raisins, to be honest. It's just bad times. So Toy and Kazuki are chasing after Nyansaro, and they end up at the Asakusa Gate, which has an event on. It's a couples-only day featuring ninjas and bees, because of course it is. It's an Ikuhara work. This is the second episode of an Ikuhara work I've seen, and I'm already kind of just expecting this is the norm.
Right, yeah.
It's just getting there at this point. And both of them look at each other and say, do you want to do this tomorrow? Yes. Let's just never speak of this again. But, I mean, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Also, that image that Vorgelia has just posted is incredible.
It's so good!
And I want you to post it into the chat, if you could, please.
Please post it in the YouTube chat.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay. I don't think
please.
I can post a screenshot in the chat. Whatever.
Well, we can put it on Twitter. Put it on Twitter and then stick it in there. It'll be great. Now, here's the thing, right? This is the point where I realised what this was starting to remind me of, because they get roped into this theme park couples date thing. Of course, with Kazuki still dressed as Sarah. And I was like, what kind of anarchic energy is this now channeling? And I realised, this is Sam and Max. This is Sam and Max in the fucking theme park, in the circus. It's that kind of insanity. And they end up chasing around, trying to get Nyansaro, and they can't actually let go of each other's hands because they will get thrown out. And Kazuki, in a moment that actually feels kind of empowering for him, actually takes charge and just puts on the Sarah voice and goes, but darling, we don't have our hands clasped together, we'll be thrown out. And bear in mind he's saying this to a hardened criminal who's, he is armed with a ruler and all that, but still. We then cut back to Ensu, who's doing his own thing, he figures out that they've been photographed. This is, by the way, another example of subtle foreshadowing about all his various reactions he has to Kazuki doing this particular caper in this theme park. So bear that in mind. Also, coincidentally, I couldn't help but notice that Kepi looked very stoned, he had the red eyes on. I don't know if that was intentional or part of his design in general, but this is what's happening here.
It was last time too. It only happened, I think, when they were in the dark hour. I've now forgotten the name. The Field of Desire.
The Field of Desire. Yeah.
He was, this episode it was very much I'm so fucking high right now. What are you doing,
dude?
Come with me,
dude.
You need to chill, Toy, because I can't handle this right now.
Mm-hmm. So while they're chasing Yanso around, Kazuki and Toy actually have a discussion, and Toy reveals that he, Kazuki reveals to Toy he's doing the whole cross-dressing thing for his brother. Bear in mind what's been happening with Toy earlier on with his own brother, and he actually says that he's happy to give the cat up. Doesn't reveal why. But we, the audience, having been primed with this knowledge, know why he feels that way, because he can understand and relate to this kind of I must look out for my brother idea that's going around.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, hard cut to police squad, but but not actually. I mean, I really wish this was just Leslie Nielsen voiced. It'd be great. But yeah, we're at the police HQ now, with generic officers all around, except for like otter cop people whose names I forget because I'm bad, as they're looking over the files of Nekoyama, basically Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, I could tell you the names, only because I didn't catch them in the episode. Apparently, it was Mabu and Rio.
Mabu and Rio. Okay, I'm just going to say something right here, right now. I don't really understand what follows here, and there have been people who've written about it. So take it from others.
Boy,
I'm not going to like try and interpret it too much.
So,
but I will say this.
Go ahead.
I will say one thing before you start. Ikuhara needs to be a fucking Eurovision director. Can you imagine him? Can you imagine him directing a Eurovision song piece? Holy shit!
It'll be so good.
I'm just saying, Ikuhara, if you're listening, you do good work. Don't get me wrong, but I think you're missing your calling.
You could do your side hustle with Eurovision.
Yeah, make Japan part of the Commonwealth again. I'm just saying. I'm sure that'll go down real well. But hey, at least we could then have Eurovision as done by Ikuhara. Anyway,
you've left the EU now to join yourself to Japan. The new union. The new Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Oh god, it's going to end up like what was it called again? Jinro, the Wolf Brigade. Oh good god. Anyway, please enlighten us as to what's happening.
No.
This,
so all I was gonna say, I can't really enlighten too much. I mean, I'll have once we get to the talking points, I guess. I can do it now. I wrote a few notes based on summaries, but I don't fucking know what happened, dude. I only got to watch the episode once, which is a huge bummer. It's been sort of a shitty few days in terms of just life, so I've only had time to watch the episode once through. But all I was gonna say when you were talking about it is, we'll all have a chance to break down what's happening, because I got a feeling we're gonna see this on a probably a weekly basis, just like the Kappa number. We'll probably see this number too. I mean, they spent a lot of, it appears, resources and time to create it. If this is just a throwaway for one episode, I would be sad. I bet I would be too. We'll see it more often, and we'll get a chance to break down what's going on. I
mean, I didn't do a very good job of parsing it, I will confess, but I'm not going to deny that it was incredibly well executed and exciting to watch. But yeah, I think as Bell's just actually alluded this very second, them doing it actually transforms Nekoyama into his zombie form, or rather unleashes his zombie form on the Field of Desire.
They suck the desire out of him into a bullet.
And bang, bang, he shot me down.
Then he goes to the bottom of a well with other corpses and red strings of fate, and there's white machinery of some kind that I think is meant to stand for the corporate machine, or some sort of faceless I don't know, capitalist society bullshit. It's life that doesn't give a shit about you, kind of thing. And at some point they talk about extracting all the individual desires from people and homogenizing them into a single existence. That all happened, and again, I don't know about a coherent reading, but I'm gonna, in future weeks when I have more time, I plan to watch all this pretty carefully, or at least try to, and sketch out what the fuck I think is happening. Goodbye, Tallulah Bell. Rip your phone.
We'll see you again when you're catching this on the recording and the VOD. So anyway, Nyansuro manages to escape onto a Ferris wheel. Now, because the Nekoyama zombie has escaped, much like in the last episode, so if I didn't clock at the time, all the cats start flying away. No word on if it'll start raining dogs at any point, but again, we'll keep you posted. This is the point at which Kepi and Enter arrive, and what more do I need to say other than that Kepi is dressed in a full women's robe, and he's using silts.
So good.
And I just thought to myself, what are they going to have him do next? Buy them all beer? Is this like the three people on a trench coat skit? I thought, wow.
I'm an adult. I'm a tall adult, like all of you.
I am of legal drinking age, Kero.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I left my ID at home, Caro, but, I mean, come on. Just, can you hook me up once between friends? I mean, look at me. Look at how tall I am. I'm old enough. Come on. You know me.
So, enter, like, when he arrives here, he's very indignant about Kazuki being away, like, not being close to Kuji. And there are a couple of reasons you might think this is the case, but there's one reason above all else that we'll get at the end. So, it's not just about personal safety. There's a bit of jealousy in there. Bear in mind the selfie or the picture that he saw of them on this couple's film before. So keep that in mind. Tap, tap. But yeah, Kepi says, right, look, you want to go save the cat? You got to go and you got to go into the other world and become Kappa again. And they do. Do the little Sentai transformation routine, the old musical number. They fight. Destroy the Neko zombie. And then, of course, much like last time, we get a leak. A secret comes out. What is the secret? Turns out that Kazuki, actually stole Nyantaro from someone. Because his kid brother wanted a cat so badly and he wanted to help him so badly. He literally stole the cat. As evidenced by the fact that, again, with that cut ear, that Nyantaro has been looked at a vet. So, there you go. Like, he and Toy are not so different in some certain respects. Like, both of them are technically criminals. Both of them, as Toy alludes to, because they see all this secret stuff, says, we'll both do what we need to do to get what we want. And he says, stealing cats ain't right. They get a silver dish of hope this time. They need 5 of them, actually, in order to be able to get a wish this time around. So, there's still a bit of debate on what they're going to use the dishes for at this point. So then the ending credits go in, and then we move on to the post-credit stinger. Now, this is the point where Kazuki dresses up again as Sarah, takes a selfie of him with Nyantaro to send to Haruka. Let's know that he's okay after all the incident where the cats just started flying off. And he passes out on the bench of the riverside. And then an ominous shadow comes in. And you're like, oh, fuck. This is going dark places. But no, it's Ensu, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. He's just going to make sure he's... wait, what? What?
And then it went a little dark anyway.
Do you want to run that by me again? He kissed him. Ensu kisses Kazuki on the lips. And the answer is reaction...
Sarah, cosplay is not consent. Haven't you been reading Twitter lately? Come on.
Also, fucking asleep, passed out cold, and had only been out cold for maybe a minute before he jumps on him. But yeah, Nyantaro's reaction mirrored my own, which was, what?
Yeah, that was a good reaction.
Yeah, and then that's the episode. But yes, it looks like, at least to me, and I could be misinterpreting this, but it looks to me like Enter is actually gay. And he's into Kazuki above and beyond just simply being friends. There's certainly been a lot of hints of it throughout the episode, such as the fact that he gets very defensive about Kazuki hanging out alone with Toy, going on that, faux date thing that really just turns out to be kind of on par with, Cloud going into Don Corneo's mansion in Final Fantasy VII. That's basically the same principle.
Right.
But yeah, that seems to be what the truth is there, that he's actually gay and is just not been able to confess his feelings.
I called it. We all called
it. Ding, ding,
actually.
ding. Victory lap. Victory lap for Valerie.
We all called it.
Yeah.
I'm having internet problems, by the way. I got maybe 5 minutes of that whole discussion.
Oh, no. No.
Rip.
Yeah.
I just...
Oh, well.
Okay, anyway, continue.
You probably had about the same effects as if you had heard all of it, because it's Sarazanmai, and it is a little indecipherable. But hopefully I did it justice. So, right.
For sure.
Talking points.
I'll keep having internet problems. I might not be as active this episode. Anyway,
all the Valerie fans.
There enough.
There are not.
Well, since you're coming in clearly right now, do you have any big, like, huge kind of things that stuck out to you that you want to talk about this episode?
See, I'm really interested in actually the formula that they're trying to establish.
Okay.
I was kind of expecting this episode to be about, like, someone else someone else from the trio, and they kind of set it up with, like, hey, it's a gun. This guy has a gun. It's like, maybe we're gonna kind of look into this, and they give a lot of kind of characterization into the bad dude with the ruler, but then they do nothing with it. And then
we get a little. We get
some stuff, yeah, but yeah.
I think next episode he'll probably do, because he was saying he wanted to take the dish of hope next time. He was about to shoot. He was going to shoot Kazuki for a second there, and then
in public.
Yeah,
I know. By the way.
And then Kepi.
Oh, come on! They went
guys, you gotta have 5 to make a wish. Maybe they'll believe this.
Yeah.
I mean, come on! There've been explosions of gas there, like
This fucking guy, right, wastes the one plate that can give you a wish on its own.
Again, he's not watched the fucking movies. Just saying.
What a winner.
Just saying. What loser more like. Ugh. Right. Okay, so do you have anything you want to talk about, Duck?
Oh, I've got it, yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I took, like I said, I only got to watch once, but I was able to take a few notes. Some stuff that I thought was interesting. So, like, I think the main question that I came away with, and that, like, I think Ikuhara wants us to come away with from this episode, based on the title for sure, which is like, I want to connect, but I want to take, is how do I encapsulate this question? Like, is it okay or morally acceptable to hurt other people or take from them to make the person that you care about happy? Or is it even possible to make other people happy without taking from someone else? Like, maybe that's what he's trying to set up. Like, in this world, that's what they believe, is that for some people to be happy, other people have to suffer. That's how the free market works. And yeah, I mean, I came away with so many questions, right? Like, is Kazuki fundamentally misunderstanding what Harukappa wants in some way? Like, is Haru is seeing these question. Yeah, like, is Haru, like, I mean, if Haru knew, right, would he be, I mean, clearly I think he'd be dismayed. Like, he doesn't want, I don't think, his brother hurting other people, committing crimes for his sake. And what's going on in with Kazuki? Like, I mean, he appears to be, like, noting all these kind of very superficial, surface level comments that Harukappa is saying, like, oh, like, I love this thing. It'd be nice to have a cat someday. Like, oh, what I need to do now is take a cat and give him a cat. And, like, and not, like, I don't know, the connection, he seems content with it being a certain way, as opposed to, I don't know, I feel like trying to make Harukappa happy would involve more than just, like, giving him things, right? Like
I said in the previous episode with Enter giving that thing, because now we've got additional context on top of that. It's not just simply about, friendship, it's actually romantic love and affection. And a kid at that age, like, I mean, again, like, as a cishet guy, I probably am speaking completely out of turn here, but I can at least appreciate that it's probably incredibly difficult, if not monumentally or astronomically impossible, to be able to do that. So, like, to a kid of their own age, say, oh yeah, I love you, like, and we're the same sex. I mean, when I said before in the previous episode about giving him that little, like, headphone set thing, like, it's difficult for people to be honest and open even when they're just talking as friends. So now we've got this on top of that. That's even harder. And then I have to ask as well, like, when you add that layer on, like, is he attracted to Kazuki when he's dressing up as Sarah? Or is it strictly just, him all over, or is it just him when he's dressed up? Is that the only time he feels comfortable approaching him? Because he is dressed up as a woman? And that feels more in line with, norms and, standards, like, there's a lot to unpack here, and it's messy as fuck, but I appreciate for doing it. Holy crap. A
lot of really adult problems that these kids are facing.
Adults spend their lifetime figuring this shit out.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. And I have to wonder as well, like, so, yes, he did steal the Antaro. That's bad. No, I don't think there's any way around that. I mean, that cat belongs to someone else who now doesn't have it. I mean, poor John, like, we've got Garfield minus Garfield starting up here. Thank you very much, Kazuki. You've left a poor, like, psychotic man all to himself in 3 panels every week by Jim Davis.
No one just wants Odie. We need the cat.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. But I have to wonder to myself, maybe Kazuki knows that he did a bad thing by stealing the cat. I would hope so. And maybe this is his way of, maybe punishing himself a little bit, or doing things differently by dressing up as Sarah. Maybe one thing has led to the other. That it's progressed from just simply giving him material once, but now doing this kind of parasocial thing, which I'll get into in just a moment.
Like, it's me doing the dirty part, but it's Sarah purely giving you the pure gift. And there's, like, a separation, the artificial separation that he buys into.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Man,
so,
I sort of want to bounce around a different, but no, go ahead.
Right, so, parasocial relationships. Let's talk about those for a moment. What are parasocial relationships? They're not romances with ghosts, I'm very sorry to say. That it's not quite like that.
Damn it.
I know. So
I'm valid too, okay? What I have with fucking what is his name? God damn it. Never mind. I'm a sad man. Can't think of good references. Just continue.
Well, I have a question for you, Doc. Do you follow a celebrity on Twitter? If you do, name any of them. Name any one of them.
Well, I follow several professional wrestlers on Twitter. I guess they're celebrities.
Okay.
I have a parasocial.
Vorgelia, do you follow a celebrity or famous person on Twitter?
I follow Shadon on Twitter.
But I don't count because I follow you back, so it's not quite the same. Okay. So let's expand this out then. Do you either of you follow a celebrity who in turn does not follow you back, at least in terms of the scope of Twitter?
Soldier Boy Tom.
I do. I do. I've got, I follow, like, for example, Stephen Fry. I follow Alan Tudyk, who you might remember as Wash from Firefly. A couple of other different people. None of them follow me back, because I'm some random Z-list internet celebrity. Maybe that's even being generous. But those are parasocial relationships. Kind of one-way, in physical space, like, interactions. And parasocial relationships can become obsessive and even destructive sometimes, both for adults and for children. I mean, how many kids, out there, for example, are into PewDiePie, Logan Paul, etc., etc. I'm not going to get into judging those particular people, but you get my point. So, what we have here, like, bear in mind the prevalence and the persistence of Azure Sarah throughout the show thus far in these 2 episodes. She's the one delivering the news, for fuck's sake. It ain't no CNN anchor here, We ain't got Ron Burgundy delivering this shit.
Sadly
not. No. And Harakappa, his behavior as a kid seems pretty much textbook for someone that young and that impressionable to have, like, fallen into that kind of parasocial love for a celebrity, or even if it turns out as it's not even a real person but just a construct even. And what I find really tragic about all of this, the more I thought about it, is that can these 2 brothers not simply interact normally? Can they not just have a regular brotherly relationship? Because it's clear from, what I've seen here that Haruka does love his brother. I mean, yes, he doesn't know the circumstances under which, Kazuki obtained the Antaro. but he clearly appreciates that. And in turn, Kazuki obviously loves his brother so much he's willing to do something that he himself is clearly uncomfortable with. Like he says, he's messed up. It's the expression of love, just in a very, unconventional way that he himself is not necessarily happy with. How tragic is that? That they can't simply just be, brotherly love, kicking football around, or whatever you want to call it.
See, I'm not sure, like, I can say they can't just be. I'm just kind of, because, the protagonist is kind of going through a whole lot of, like, wild shit to kind of have a connection with his brother, even though,
Well, that's the funny thing, actually.
What I want to see is, like, okay, what does the protagonist want out of his brother? And, like, out of his relationship with his brother? What does his brother kind of want out of his relationship with people? Like, what do these people... We kind of explore their actions, and we kind of explore the kind of brother's personality a bit, but none of the kind of, like, motivation behind these actions. Like, why can't they be like that? I wouldn't say they can't be, but, like... What the heck is going on in his brain?
Yeah, well, something's clearly stopping them from doing that he has to go so far as to interact with his brother by proxy. And we'll find out, I'm sure of it.
Here's a crazy theory put forward by your friend and mine, Emily, from For Me in Full Bloom. Yes, Emily Rand. She was saying that she's not necessarily putting this forward as like, oh, she thinks this is true, but she thinks that there's a growing body of evidence to suggest that what happened to Kazuki at the very beginning of the show was that he died.
Ooh.
And that he's, like, dead. And
yeah, actually, I thought about that, too. I was like, did he die? Is he dead? Because it's like, oh, they have to save their souls or whatever in the thing. Is he dead?
I don't know, man. In the way that she pointed out this week, the way the parents interacted with the brother and versus the way they interacted with him, or the way he interacted with them.
Yeah,
they didn't even. Yeah, it was like
I don't see it there because they did interact with him.
Well, only after the little brother spoke to him. So maybe maybe what you don't see is mom and dad looking at each other like, okay, we have to pretend like he's still alive. Bye, older brother Chen. See you later.
Right. Okay.
Man, that's some dark shit if that turns out to be true.
I know. I don't know. I'm not sure whether I would even like it if that was the case.
I don't know if that makes the other two dead also.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because Toy doesn't even know that.
Because, we have zombies and stuff. Maybe he is a zombie. Or something.
Well, we can already say that we've got Toy's brother Max as being a future zombie. I'm going to call that now. He's going to get called by the cops. I mean, he's a criminal, and what do criminals end up running into? The police.
The police.
Yep.
The pigs.
Sound of the police.
That wasn't me.
So, yeah, like, I'm thinking that this is actually leading into some kind of, indictment on parasocial relationships. And the reason I say this is just because of the prevalence of Asuma Sara everywhere, giving the news and everything. Like, to the point where Haruka's, doing that whole thing at breakfast reminded me a little bit, believe it or not, and people are going to hate me for making this reference because I made it tons of times already. He's basically this show's Nanako. Penny dropped. Penny dropped.
Who's the Nanako of the show?
Haruka.
Okay, so
Raised by TV.
Right.
Nanako from Persona 4.
Sure. No, yeah. God. I'd have to think about it a lot more. Also, it's unfair, Twitter is poisoning me, because, now every time I think of Nanako, I think of that video. You know, the one where Yusuke's like, maybe your mom can cook us something, and she's like, I don't have a mom, she died in an accident. And then cuts to her dancing in the dancing game. No. It's like, fucking, goddamn it.
Ice cold right there. Ice cold.
Fuck. Okay.
So yeah, I'd be interested to see how it's developed. Maybe he'll start exploring parasocial relationships more. I mean, also we've got the whole thing of is Haruka ever going to find out? How does a kid that age comprehend what's been going on with his older brother? It'd be difficult.
So
I will have one final. Oh, sorry.
No. You go ahead because I have many more. Many more things.
I was going to having. Vorg brought up the idea, like they've been through some crazy shit. I think that's also one of the funny contradictions this show brings up that is very true to life. People can go through some crazy shit together, and I'm not talking about being transformed into Kappa or anything like that. But even after all that they've been through together, where they literally have been, turned into Kappa, having, passed through the fucking anus of a, living Kappa god, that they still can't be honest with each other. Because bear in mind, Toy does not reveal his own, older brother exists to the other two when they question him why he wants it so bad, even though he's doing it for fundamentally the exact same reason as Kazuki is.
Right.
He still doesn't reveal that to them, despite the fact that they've literally just had to fight a cat demon in an alternate universe while transformed into Kappa, doing a Sentai power-up attack and a musical number. If you go through that, you could talk about anything. At least that's what you'd think, but Ikuhara, I think, feels differently, and I think that's very true. There are still some things that we'll never reveal to each other, even if we have been through some foxholes in our lives, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in my own life, and I think this is true for other people, like you might go through like a weird experience with a group of people, or even a good one, like a kind of something that brings you together for a short time or even an extended period of time, and then you kind of go back to your life and it's just sort of like as you were, and in some ways, and if you met again, it wouldn't be like it's like we never parted, or let me reveal all these deep things to you. It's like, yeah, that was fucked up, wasn't it? Kind of, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know, maybe there's like more that needs to happen than simply the connecting. And I think that's like, that was going to be my next question. One of my next questions is like, I think in anime there's like, we see a lot of talk about like bonds and connections, but the word bonds I like because that implies, I think, reciprocation, and it implies, at least to me, that there's like time has elapsed, the connection is not like this new thing, and that there's like a foundation and things have been built upon it. Mm-hmm. So like connection and the idea of connection here, like will that actually solve problems, right? Because like what they're doing, the boys are connecting each episode and having these experiences of connection, but like it's like Kepi tells them in this episode, connection always brings risks. Sarazanmai is always inherent with risks. Like getting close to other people and connecting with them repeatedly is risky to you because things about yourself that you want to like have hidden are going to be revealed, and that can be a problem depending on kind of where you are in life, and like being gay and having a crush on your best friend. Yes, like there could be things that could get you into trouble. Like, are you kind of, I guess, ready to take further steps after that? Like, will the relationships be irrevocably damaged? Like, will they find out a thing where they're like, I don't know about this anymore. I'm not sure I'm down for like this association. And I mean, look at Mabu and Rio. Like, they are positioned, at least to me right now, as villains, and they have, it seems to me, established like a very strong connection, and it plays out over like the dance and creating the heart out of the desires. Kalima Shakside. Sorry, had to be done. Right. So I don't know. Like, are we going to hear more about like the different kinds of connection? Like, are all connections created equal? Like, what is a connection? Is there something more that Ikuhara is going to prescribe needs to happen to kind of create a bond or create a thing that will be ultimately helpful? Or is that not even the point? Like, as if like connections or no connections, like life is fucked up and we're gonna go through shit, and it's better to be connected than not be connected. So if you're not connected, you get turned into a zombie, right? Like, that's one of the requirements for you have no beginning, no end, and no connections, and that's how the otter cops seek you out to turn you into to suck your desire out of you and weaponize it and kill you. So
maybe the argument could be made as well that the show, perhaps as it goes along, will say, you don't have to reveal everything about yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to, give every single part of yourself away to still be able to connect and have a meaningful and fulfilling relationship with other people.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, like the Capizon boxes are. I don't know. Yeah, maybe there's something even beyond the boxes or in the boxes. Yeah, that is like, there's still a self there. You don't have to like give everything away, or else there won't be anything left over to give or to like help or share or have a relationship, a good one, a healthy one. So a couple more points. I touched on this earlier about taking from others to like make the one that you love happy, and I thought that this was interesting. I think you might have touched on this while I was away, Shadon, but there's like a really interesting parallel being drawn, I think, between what Kazuki is doing for his brother and what Toy and his brother could be doing for each other. What is Enta even like mistakenly like says at the end of the episode, like, man, what Kazuki's doing is way different from you, and like the viewer is supposed to be like, actually Toy's kind of doing it for the same reasons. Like, it's the dish, right? He wants to give the dish to his brother. So like at bottom in Kazuki and Toy, you have this like, my motivation is to like get the feel good, get the happy for the person I care about, and I will do whatever it takes. Or for Kazuki, it might not quite yet be whatever it takes, but I think like maybe we're starting to see that it is. Like, maybe we're starting to see like it's a slippery slope. He's willing to have the sort of fake text relationship and lead his brother on, pretending to be Sarah. He's willing to steal a cat from someone and nick the cat. Like, what else is he willing to do, right? I mean, and you're originally earlier on in the episode, you're meant to think like, oh man, Kazuki and Toy are so different. That hard cut between what Kazuki's doing and then the waterboarding and everything. But by the end of the episode, you're like, they're really not that different.
No.
And so, like, where's the justification, or is there a justification at all for taking from someone to make, for hurting someone to make someone else happy?
But this as well ties into what Kazuki is doing, because here's the thing, right? One of the things about parasocial relationships is they don't last forever. Like, kids in particular, who fixate on a celebrity or celebrities that they're very fond of, even YouTubers, they will be watching them forever. They won't be, at that level of interest forever. Might still occasionally come back to them every now and again. But it's very clear from Haruka's age alone that this is just kind of like childlike infatuation that you... So, again, think of the tragedy of this. Everything that Kazuki is doing for his brother right now is ultimately going to be for nothing. Because in the end, Haruka will simply discard Sarah, because he'll move on, he'll grow up. He's only, 8 at a push, if I had to guess? The voice load tells me he's definitely around that. So,
see, I expect Kazuki to just kind of go with whatever the next thing is. Because he went with the cat, he went with Sarah. What's stopping him from just kind of continuously following?
Not a healthy thing to be doing, though. Like, he needs to do something genuine.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And,
I want to know what's stopping him.
Well, that's it. We will find out. Stay tuned, loyal viewers. Do not adjust your television sets or internet browsers or whatever the fuck you're watching this on.
By like episode 8, Haruka is going to be like, this Tarantino movie is cool. Murdering's cool. I want to be a murderer when I grow up, and then Kazuki's like,
I want to be this.
All right, I guess I have to go take a selfie of murdering someone.
No. He's like, okay, hey, Quentin Tarantino is cool. Like, I want a Big Mac from Europe.
That's right. I guess I'm getting on a plane and getting a Royale with cheese.
Yes, I'll have to go to Europe.
I really swear, by the way, it would not be past Ikuhara to have a gimp in a box. Like, looks like the spider's caught a couple of flies.
God.
I can just imagine what the art cop's saying that. Like, seriously. But call me crazy, let me throw this wild theory out here. Maybe this
is a show about going medieval in people's houses.
Yeah, but like, let me throw out a wild theory here. So people have mentioned about the gender swap thing with in chat with Haruka. Now, again, I'm very unqualified to talk about this, so appropriately for this show, I am literally talking out my ass here. But yeah, I went there. So here's a thought, right?
Get in.
What if it turns out that this is like the way that Haruka's acted, like, because he's fascinated with a female idol at a very young age? Seems quite impressionable, isn't it? Call me crazy, but what if over a long period of time it turns out that Haruka is actually a girl trapped in a boy's body?
Okay.
So follow me this.
Okay.
Who in his family could help him through that if it turns out that's where he's going?
Well, I guess Kazu could have a little bit to say about that. Yeah? Yes,
he would. What a twist that would be. Now, again, I should stress that I can't read into this any further because I literally, like, I'm incapable of doing so by nature of who I am. But, like, there's a lot of potential in this to delve into some difficult but welcome issues. Like, I'm really excited for it. And I don't know what else really to add other than just to say that, like, there's going to be a lot of hard moments coming up for the two brothers, like, you know, for all the brothers for that matter. It's got nothing to do with just being camp, like just what they got to deal with in real life. Like, how on earth is Kazuki ever going to explain to, like I said before, how's he explain to his younger brother, yeah, I dressed up as the idol, and here's why I did it. Yeah. His reasons make perfect sense in his own head, or rather, some sense, because he clearly isn't quite comfortable with it. I was an 8-year-old past that. I don't know, but we'll find out in some due course.
It's heavy, dude.
It's heavy. If I may get a talking point, go on.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna quickly say in chat, like, you know, Sophie and Tallulah are saying that you have Kazuki kind of, perhaps he's someone who was sort of interested in cross-dressing beforehand, and that, like, making Harukappa happy was the final thing he needed to, like, clear the mental hurdle to start doing it, and that it shouldn't be characterized as, like, I think the implication is this shouldn't be characterized as a bad thing, and I agree. Like, I don't actually think I want there to be clarity. Like, when I was talking about, like, the slippery slope for Kazuki and, like, what won't he do, I wasn't just talking about the cross-dressing, like, in itself. I think that is entirely fine. I think the sort of little, the, like, white lie in the first episode, the bad thing is not the cross-dressing, right, but the impersonating someone else and carrying on this relationship on false pretenses, right? And and in the beginning, I know that you don't think anything of it because, like, whatever, like, this seems, I guess, harmless, but, like, I think this episode, at least the way I'm reading it, is meant to be, you're meant to think, well, it's not just pretending to be someone else and carrying on this false relationship with his brother that he's willing to do. It's also crime, real crime. So
what I think is, like, in episode 1, it did really seem like he hated himself for it. Though that's
true. That's true.
That may be cultural norms. And he's basically kind of uncomfortable with
Yeah,
The idea
because
like, he just doesn't like that he has these needs.
bear in mind,
Or,
he's
like-
saying that out loud in front of both Toy and Ensa, who just found
Sure.
that out. Is it
Not
perhaps
even saying
performance?
that. He just kind of seems uncomfortable, but yeah. It
No,
might
he
be
literally, that's it,
performance.
yeah.
Okay. It might be performance. It might be that just, okay, cultural norms. Oh my god, what am I doing? I'm a pervert. And that might be like a kind of a, I don't know, character development. Maybe at the end he gets more comfortable with it and like kind of explores his identity a bit more.
We'll find out.
I mean, certainly throughout the episode, like, he gets in different situations, and it seems like whether the urgency of those situations have driven from his mind his self-hatred, or he really is, like you said, performing on the outside but comfortable on the inside. Like, throughout the episode, it seems like he's just going around being Sarah and like doing stuff and hanging out at the couples theme
And
park.
having the lick language. Also,
Yeah,
like
totally.
the whole D-ish thing.
Yeah, totally. And like,
Is all the mannerisms down all?
yeah, which is this so different from the end of episode 1 / beginning of episode 2, where he's like, "I'm so fucked up, bros. I know you hate me too."
Let me more! No, okay.
What's a kiss between bros?
It was only a kiss. Like,
I'm only pretending to be asleep. Yes, he kissed me. Yes.
What's a kiss? Like, it's not gay if we're bros.
It's not gay if we're bros.
we did
Horse
Tom
in the
touch.
Right.
So you said before about Crime Doc. There's something I want to add, like that I do understand contextually, culturally about Japan. One of the very, very few things I do. So, open question to people in the audience here. What would get you punished more severely in Japan? A, owning child pornography. B, selling weed. If you said A, selling child pornography or owning it, you are wrong.
You're wrong.
You are wrong because Japan is backwards. So, this is all anecdotal from memory, this stuff. So if I'm wrong in naming particular like works or such or authors or whatever, then please do correct me, both people in chat and Doc and Vorg. So, the guy who wrote Rurouni Kenshin, a property I have no familiarity with whatsoever beyond it being in the news lately, because he apparently was found with, child pornography. Am I correct in that?
A dungeon's worth of it. Yeah, like a lot.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
he clearly spent a lot of money, but pumped a lot of money into that industry.
Yeah, money he got from people buying his book. So if you own Rurouni Kenshin stuff, you probably feel fairly tainted, I would.
Yeah.
In the same way as if you own... last couple of months? Well, no, it's a year ago.
So it came out last October initially, and then he popped back up in the spring again because the publisher was basically like, yeah, come on back home.
Yeah,
Watanabe,
you're good.
Get your manga,
You're
get
good.
your manga back in this magazine. God damn it, come over here.
What's a bit of
child
pedophilia
porn?
between friends?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, like he got a fine, slap on the wrist. His book was dropped for a bit and came back. On the flip side of things, I don't know the name of the voice actor, but I believe he was one of the gentlemen who was in one of the more recent Yakuza games.
Yeah.
That's been coming out.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. He was doing drugs of some description. I don't know what drugs they were, but in my mind, in my, liberal left-wing nonsense mind, believe it or not, I don't care if you're literally hauling a car, like a mountain load of cocaine on a boat. Like, that is small potatoes compared to doing child pornography in any form, right? So it doesn't matter in my head what that is. He basically is now a non-person. He got erased from the very game that he voiced his character entirely. He has been,
recast, basically, and this game is not being sold.
Yeah, he's been destroyed, basically. He's not gone to jail, as I understand. But bear in mind, I mean, Vic Vignoga fans, if you're listening, there are distinctions between legal consequences and work consequences.
Yeah.
You might want to get up to speed with that, just a thought. But
You'll never work in this town again.
Yeah, he ain't working in the voice acting industry ever again, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, like, even if he didn't go to jail, the other guy didn't either. Great. Whoop-de-fuck-de-doo. Why is this relevant to this episode? Because what on earth, might I remind you, is Toy actually, growing drugs? In its own twisted way, and I don't know if this is deliberate on Ikuhara's part, like, this is meant to show how bad he is for doing this,
right.
Even though to us, it's like, it's the
Go
most
get him, bro.
minor shit.
Yeah.
Like weed is legal in a lot of countries, and it's legal in some states of the USA. It's maddening, and I don't know if this is him like taking the piss out of that, or if he's doing that deliberately because he knows it's what socially is at least to Japan, is like the more heinous crime according to them. I don't know, but like, man, it's a weird show where I can literally say out loud, if this character was like smuggling child pornography instead of weed in that fucking, cat food, he would get off more lightly. But that's one of the reason I bring this up as well, is it ties into the point I made previously about, how accessible would you argue this show is? And I would say that it's a mixed bag. There's some sits that are like, a bit incomprehensible. This is one of those that you have to understand cultural. Like, this is clear that this is not necessarily directed to Westerners, which, by the way, is totally fine. Not everything needs to be made for us gaijin, us dirty fuckers from outside Japan. But if you had no idea of what I just told you, like, just as examples, or even, like, what Japan considers, like, like, taboo, like, you might think, oh, what's a little weed? Who cares? And you are correct, Lubel. That is quite intense. I mean, this isn't like Breaking Bad, for example. This isn't. We're on that level. And I totally agree with where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
But as a question of relativity here, like, holy shit, it's something. So it's one of those things again that might not come across necessarily clearly to a Western audience, who otherwise in some places where it's legal would think, well, okay, he should be growing it because he is literally 14. But it's not that bad, surely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
unless it's
just worth highlighting the context.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's an airsoft gun trickster, a la Persona. But even those things, I think, are frowned upon. Like if the replicas are too realistic. It shoots what?
Rulers.
Yes. I wanted like a full Shinjo Gahara situation where they pull out all kinds of office supplies from their pocket, protractor, a compass. He's got a staple gun that hits with the force of the underslung grenade launcher on an M16. Yes, exactly. God, those yardsticks or meter sticks or whatever they are, they're fantastic. Final question that comes to mind for me is when Mabu and Rio are... I think they originally, you see them ask it in the first episode, but they do it again here when they are talking to... let me get the name right because I don't remember the name. Nekoyama Mokichi to get his desire, kill him, and weaponize the desire. Like, they ask about whatever it is he's feeling. Is it love or is it desire? And I found that separation, distinction really interesting. Because, in my mind at least, and there could be translation issues at play, there could be Western mindset at play, but in my mind, like, you can have desire without love, but you can't have love without desire. Like, loving something is a sufficient condition for also desiring it, at least in my brain. So, like,
are you talking about all kinds of love?
What's that?
Are you talking about all kinds of love, or are you talking about romantic, familial, brotherly?
I guess that's a good point.
Because I don't think because when you get desire mixed with familial love, that's when we start getting some shit.
I guess it depends on like what desire means, right? They might not be talking about per se sexual only desire. Because I desire, in a way, like my family. Like I want to be with them. I want to be around them and near them. So I don't know. I guess it's like you could get. This is maybe more of a technical question than I intended it to be, like a grammar parsing, word parsing deal. But I just found it interesting that those two were like the cleavage there.
Will this be on the test?
Yes. Prepare.
Some notes there. Right.
Well,
so I think I'm good on talking. Are you good, Doc?
I mean, good is a relative term.
Well, especially in this.
Am I out of things to say? Possibly. Do I think we've explained or talked about all there is to talk about? Not really. I think we'll probably. I don't know. At least I think I'll have more to say, especially regarding the otter cop dance, the ceremonial gayness. Later on. Oh, actually, this is an interesting
I think
point.
The next few episodes will put a lot of things into perspective.
Yeah, for sure. So, interesting point brought up by Jacob Chapman, who is doing the write-ups for this show on Anime News Network, that I hadn't thought about, but it seems really obvious when he makes this point. Like, Ikuhara works, and this has been pointed out in chat, like, they've always explored, like, queer themes and LGBTQ stuff. But it does seem like over the years, the villains in his shows, the big bads, all tend to be, like, gay dudes. And queer ladies end up being the protagonists a lot of the time. And, you know, Jacob was saying, like, well, what's going on here? Like, this seems intentional. And apparently Ikuhara recently said, you know, this is sort of what... Like, these are the pitches that anime production committees would take from me. So that's why things have been structured like this up to this point. And in this episode, we've got, you know, queer boys as the protags. So they're the good guys, but they're still doing crimes. So I wonder if there's, like, a subconscious, like, you know, something going on there. Just something to bring up. Food for thought. More so than, like, a declarative, this is what I think about this.
We'll cover that in more detail next time, I suspect, as we go along and we get more info on the Otter Cops. I mean, when you said that, though, it did bring to mind, like, I've been wanting to discuss with you for a while, so maybe this is the time that we bring it out there a little bit, which is the Persona 5 debacle. Yeah, you remember those two.
There's more than one Persona 5 debacle, so...
Oh, the Persona 5, you know, the only two gay characters are the ones who are sexual predators.
Motherfucker! I hated that so much.
Yeah,
God,
I do too. I do too. So here's the thing why I bring this up, though, right? And this is this is something I'm quite interested in generally when it comes to writing. Nothing is taboo. Those characters in Persona 5, you can write as you wish. But it's then a question of what you do with them. The characters themselves existing in a vacuum is not a problem, but when you apply them in a certain way, that's where it becomes an issue. So I hate that whole inclusion that it's not even, like, even disregarding the homophobia inherent in it, it's just not funny. It's not funny. It wouldn't be funny if they were women, because it's sexual predator jokes. Fuck off. Don't care for it. Eat shit. But I would, however, argue that they would be fine if included as a counter-narrative to a social link who was gay. Now, that's something I would develop later on. There's a lot of it, but we're not talking about Sophie, we're talking about Sarazanmai. Why is it relevant to Sarazanmai? Because if these characters are indeed queer-coded as heavily as they are, like the Otter Cops in particular, and are indeed evil in that kind of sense, then, you know, they serve as the counter-narrative, or rather, you know, the antithesis of what our, you know, characters are trying to find out. You know, they're very openly, happily, you know, into their sexuality, their queer-coded nature. I must stress, by the way, that I'm probably completely talking out of my ass for all this stuff, because I'm not really overly qualified to it. But as Kay from Anime's Lit once said, treating queerness as unknowable is, you know, not helpful to anyone, which has stuck with me since then, so thank you for that, Kay. So, you know, I think that it's a question of how you express your sexuality, but also, you know, like, what you ultimately do with it. You know, if you want to be, like, say, a camp supervillain, like the Otter Cops are, that's fine, as long as you don't actually hurt anyone for it. But bear in mind, that's what they are doing. Like, they did it to the Nikoyama guy.
Right.
Buffalo Bill, Mr. Cat Person.
The cat shaming incident.
Yeah, and it seems to me that what we've seen with Enter here is that he is struggling to express his own sexuality as particular towards Kazuki, or even just any sort of connection with him. That's why S resorts to the materialistic element that I mentioned previously. So we'll see this develop as it goes along. And by the way, if you haven't read Jake Chapman's... It is Jake Chapman, sorry.
Mm-hmm,
yeah?
mm-hmm.
If you haven't read Jake Chapman or, say, Vestnet or Ilgenes or anyone who is infinitely more qualified to talk about this than I am, then I would very strongly recommend you do so. Don't take don't take my very poor kind of ad-lib discussions here as gospel on the matter. Get a wider reading, particularly for people who are LGBTQ+. Just saying. You'll be better off for it, and you'll be better informed. But I'm certainly very curious and very eager to see where it goes next, that's for sure.
Don't ask me, though. My internet has been cutting off, and I missed, most of this conversation.
Oh, no.
Damn it! Borg, you need to correct your styrofoam cups and string.
Yeah! Go to the roof of your apartment, adjust your antenna.
Something's clogging my internet tubes.
Yeah.
Well, you're
right, Silbel. They're not a parody. They're not...
I don't think they're a parody.
No.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more going on, actually.
Yeah. I think that the thing is, though, is that, you could very easily turn them into parody if you so wish, but Ikuhara clearly is, doing something a lot more substantive with them. That's what I'm saying about the idea of application. You wouldn't need to change much with the archetypes to turn them into parody.
Well, here's how they relate to, I think, stereotypes of yaoi or BL. Those books also have a cleavage between love and desire. The boys can desire each other, but they don't love each other, so it's okay. It's just a phase or whatever. And then they'll go off and be successful salarymen and marry a lady and have kids. And you got to protect the purity of the love. So that whole thing, I mean, I can see a relationship there, but I think that might just there's so fucking much there with those characters, with Mabu and Reo, that I think there's a lot, and that's maybe a part of it, but there's probably more to it. There's definitely more to it.
Just to clarify, I've not read the manga, prequel manga about the Arc Cops.
Oh, so I'm sorry. I'm quoting from someone that I read. Let me find the post. Please, while I'm doing this, if you guys want to rate the episode, that would
with pleasure. So we've talked a little bit about some ideas that have been bubbling up to the surface, and of course the events that have happened in the episode. But what we've not really talked about, because it's not something that I think I've said before, you can really describe in great length unless you're totally breaking it down to the point where it's not funny anymore. This episode was very funny to me. That hard cut to seeing the gun in the box that Enter picks up. I had to pause because I was pissing myself with laughter. I genuinely enjoyed that moment. The comic capers include, in the whole theme park thing between Haruka and Toy, that was great as well. Especially when he asserted himself a little bit and took used the Sarah voice to tease him a little bit. That was good. There's plenty of good manic humor in this, and I really appreciate it. I mean, Kepi, dressing up as the female Kappa with the stilts. That's also funny. There's crafted, constructed jokes here. If I had any complaint, I'd say that the fight scene, the fact that they're reusing the fight scene animations, when they turn to Kappa, that could get a little bit dry and a little bit repetitive as the series goes on if they keep doing that. Especially if it's just basically, you got to get round to the rear and go for the enemy butt. I know that's the way they beat them, but it might end up wearing a little thin over time. But we'll see. Nonetheless, I enjoyed all the setup here. There's a lot of great subtle build-up towards the reveal of Enter being gay, with him reacting the way he does to Kazuki and Toys, dates, quote-unquote. Mm-hmm. The build-up with Yantaro. It's all good stuff here. I really, really enjoyed it. So in the end, I will give this episode 4.25 theme park love ninjas out of 5.
Theme park love ninjas.
That's what they are.
Okay, so I found the thing. So Good Haro, who is a freelance J2E translator, and this tweet was quoted. Where I saw it was quoted in Emily Rand's blog on episode 2. So Haro says in a tweet, 2 tweets. Interesting that Mabu sets up an explicit dichotomy between Japanese character / Japanese character or desire and lust. Desire / lust. So you were right about calling it lust, like desire in terms of sexual. And so lust versus love, desire and love. He says, interesting because in simplistic terms, the tension between those things is sort of the classic traditional boys love conflict. Like think about the framework of those typical not gay except for you stories in the genre. So, and I don't think Hado is saying this always happens, just that like for certain, it's a stereotype, it's a certain formula that for some BL stories, like it's played out a lot and so it becomes a trope. And then Emily, like I said, quotes it and talks about the policeman. They specifically make a distinction between desire and love, forcibly separating the two, which plays into common boys love media tropes. Yet true connection between the two would involve both love and desire. So this is where I was getting that info. In case you're wondering, I'm not like enough of an expert. Like I've only read like a tiny fraction of stories that will be considered BL, which is say like less than half a dozen. So at no point am I going to be like, I know the tropes. So like if I'm totally willing to buy like that this is not a thing that happens super often or is a stereotype or whatever. But anyway, so how would I rate the episode? I was a little bit less impressed with this one in some ways. Like, just considering it as an episode, in and of itself. But, I mean, holistically, like, taken as a whole, and this will probably be my opinion as we go, I love it. Like, I think it's great. To quote, was it Donald Trump Jr.? If it's what you say, I love it.
Oh.
If it's what you say, I love it. If this means what we think it means, I love it. No, I really, but the episode itself, I'm going to go, I think I gave the last one the full 5, so I'll go 4.25. 4.25 weird, like, bumblebee butt costumes out of 5.
Fair enough. The one straight out of the Wall Market Club from Final Fantasy VII. There's another one I got in. I just cannot be stopped making these references, honestly. And Vorgelia, what did you think of the episode?
I don't think it impressed me as much as the first one. I think it kind of treaded a lot of the same grounds. It gave some characterization, but like to some character, the character that my third favorite character of the 3 main characters.
Which one? Who is that?
The badass dude with the.
He's your third favorite dude.
Yes.
Oh, it's okay. This is a good good question. Rank the protagonists. Rank the 3. How would you?
Okay.
How would you do it? I have mine already.
Oh man.
I mean, it's the not the protagonist, but the child with the orange hair.
Mm-hmm.
Then the protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Then the ruler guy.
Okay, I would probably mirror that. Possibly
It might change.
Possibly
don't
flipping the last two.
It feels like it could vacillate a little bit, but I would agree.
Because we don't have the orange dude like here. Like
our president, you mean? Donald, come on over in the stream. We need your input on this anime. The orange one. You cold?
He's here tonight. Okay, so.
Fuck my life, Carol.
Okay, so. Yeah. I didn't care too much about this episode, and especially because it kind of retreaded a lot of the same weirdness without kind of providing it a lot of context and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever.
The rating is a whatever.
Yes,
Wow.
it gets a 6 out of
Is that-
5.
Fair enough. Right then, I think that then concludes our discussion of Sarazanmai episode 2. We'll be back. It'll be next week at this point, I believe, since I've decided rudely to go and watch mass market media and then go get drunk in Manchester afterwards. So I won't be available on the Friday, I'm afraid. But we will hopefully be back early next week to cover it. In the meantime, anything else you want to add, Doug?
No, just thanks everybody for hanging out.
Indeed.
I
Thank
know
you.
it was a weird time. Thanks for chatting. Thanks to everyone who's watching on the VOD or listening to the podcast.
Absolutely.
Please follow us on Twitter at Warui Deshou to get drops like when, these things become podcasts or when we go live, and rate and review us on iTunes and all the other places because it helps us. And we're so grateful for all of you. Thank you. Mwah.
Indeed. Anything from you, Fog?
Bye. Sorry, I'm just really tired. I'm just completely out of it today.
All right, then. Well, on that note, ladies, gentlemen, MBs, and Keros, thank you all very much for joining us. It's been lovely having you all, as always, people in the chat. Getting to, I can speak for myself here, but, I'm always glad to be educated by people who know the material, know the concepts better. This is part of the reason why I keep doing Warui Deshou, so I can be more educated and more savvy, consumer of anime. As it's certainly necessary when you're talking about Sarazanmai. But until next time, have a very wonderful evening, and as always, everyone, embrace each other to the ends of the universe. A good night.